This is the history of the Ottoman Empire. These were men who were captured as child slaves from Christian lands in southwestern Europe and forced to convert to Islam. They were then incorporated into the Ottoman army under strict codes of discipline and professionalism, which made them an extremely effective fighting force. From this position of power in the early 16th century, the Ottomans would consolidate their efforts and spend the next 2 centuries waging war against Christendom in Western and Central Europe. This became a multi-pronged conflict, with much of the initial effort spent fighting for dominance of the Mediterranean against the preeminent power in the region, Spain. At that time, the Spanish controlled much of southern Italy and the Italian islands, and took it upon themselves to check the advance of the Muslim Ottomans by leading coalitions of Christian forces against them. For decades, armadas were sent back and forth between the Turks and the Spanish, culminating in 2 major clashes in 1565 and 1571. The first of these was the Great Siege of Malta, during which the Ottomans tried to capture the island from the Knights of St. John, who had been granted it by the Spanish crown as compensation for the loss of the island of Rhodes to the Turks decades earlier. The siege ended in failure for the Ottomans, and 6 years later, their advancement into the Mediterranean would be halted further by another Spanish-led Christian alliance, which sent a huge armada against them in 1571. The Battle of Lepanto, which took place off the coast of northwestern Greece, involved over 400 ships and 130,000 men, and ended with another defeat for the Ottomans. Although this proved to the Christian powers that the threat from the Turks could be contained to some extent, this setback, from the Ottoman perspective, merely shifted their focus to other areas of Europe where they wished to expand into. Ever since their victory over the Hungarians at the Battle of Mohacs in 1526, complete control over Central Europe lay tantalizingly within the Ottomans' grasp, were it not for the Austrian capital of Vienna barring the way across the river Danube. Although they had failed in their previous attempts to take the city in 1529, under the leadership of Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa Pasha, a new siege was launched against Vienna in 1683. Despite fielding an army of over 150,000 men, the Ottomans could not take the city, and when a Christian Holy League relief force, led by the Polish King John III Sobieski, arrived on the 12th of September, they were routed before the walls in what was the largest cavalry charge in history, with 18,000 horsemen charging into the Turks' encampment. The defeat at Vienna marked a turning point for the Ottoman advance into Europe, after which they would gain no further ground on the continent.